Hello and welcome to Radical Catholic. I'm your host, Shoeless Joe, and today we are talking about why Catholics should not eat meat on Fridays.
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. If you're a member of the Catholic Church, you probably know that during Lent, Catholics do not eat meat on Fridays. Some people call this the Friday fast, but it's not actually a fast. Fasting is when you choose to not eat at all. Like on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, we fast, so we eat only one meal. When we don't eat meat on Fridays during Lent, that's actually called abstaining. We are abstaining from meat. But why do we do this? Why Friday and why no meat?
Pie, sausage roll.
Devout Jews used to observe days of fasting and abstinence on Mondays and Thursdays. So those Jews who converted to Christianity switched those days to Wednesdays and Fridays, which eventually just became Friday. The reason for abstaining on Friday is because Jesus died on a Friday. So we do this to remember Jesus' death and to mirror our suffering to his. But why abstain at all? Well, we abstain for two reasons: penance and asceticism. Penance basically means that we are doing this in reparation for our sins. Jesus died for our sins, so we want to do something, make a sacrifice that sort of not really makes up for our sins, but shows how sorry we are. Abstaining is also very ascetic. That means it's like a spiritual workout. You're strengthening your spirit muscles. You're gaining the ability to have self-control and really contain your desires. Okay, so now we know why we abstain. We know why we abstain on Fridays, but why do we abstain from meat specifically, and why isn't fish considered meat? There are a lot of people who think that there was a pope at some point who had strong ties with the fishing industry, so he chose to give up meat and to have fish to boost the economy of fish. It's not true. While there's no evidence to back that theory up, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that meat was just considered more enjoyable to eat. It was considered sort of a celebratory food. You know, you kill the fatted calf for a party, that kind of thing. So in choosing what to abstain, they went down to meat, because going down to just more vegetables and stuff like that, you're more simplifying your diet, you're kind of giving up that nice thing. And if you ask Thomas Aquinas, he'll tell you that meat gets your sex drive going. Who knew?
Pie, sausage roll.
Abstaining from meat on Fridays goes all the way back to the dawn of Christianity. It started off as people just eating bread, and then it went to no meat, eggs, or dairy, and then it went to just not meat. But why aren't fish considered meat? The reason for this is that fish are not considered flesh meat, which is technically what we abstain from. This has to do with like Latin prefixes and words and stuff that I don't really know about or care about. And St. Paul said there were 4 different types of meat: man flesh, beast flesh, bird, and fish. So they didn't really see it all as one type of meat, but as 4 different categories of meat. And apparently bishops have the authority to make certain animals into fish, like beavers or muskrats or alligators. So there's that. Now you're probably aware of the fact that before the Council of Vatican II, Catholics always gave up meat on every Friday. Friday was always a day of abstaining from meat. And then the Vatican II Council came around and they said, you know what, no more of that, we're going to restrict it to just Lent. Otherwise, outside of Lent, you can eat whatever you want on Fridays. Right? Wrong. What happens is that the bishops in the United States started talking about maybe abstaining from meat on Fridays isn't what's best for everyone. I mean, everyone comes from different economic backgrounds and has different lifestyles. Like, the US is just a big melting pot. I mean, think of vegetarians. How is that helping them? So in 1966, they released a document basically saying you can choose what you want to give up on Friday if you want to do something besides meat. You don't have to do meat. You have to do something, but you don't have to do meat. I mean, you could do something else. Or you can do an act of penance if you don't want to abstain from something, like maybe do some kind of charity work or something like that. So everyone just started eating meat on Fridays, and most people didn't really do anything else to replace that. They even say in this document, we give first place to abstinence of flesh meat, and then go on to say pretty much, we hope most Catholics will do this still. Come on guys, you're still gonna do it, right? Even if we don't make you? Ha ha ha, you wish. Then in 1983, Rome released the Code of Canon Law that states if you are between the ages of 14 and 59, unless you have medical reasons or it is a solemnity, you should be abstaining from meat every single Friday, inside of Lent and outside of Lent.
Pie, sausage roll.
However, they added a law that basically said we give the power of the Council of Bishops in each country to decide for their country if they should do something else. Not if they should give it up, but just if they should do something else. Because obviously some countries don't eat a lot of meat anyways, so giving it up isn't really a sacrifice. And you know, vegetarians. So the United States Catholic Council of Bishops, or USCCB, in all their wisdom said, well, leave it up to the people. That has not gone so well. It just became a free-for-all. I don't know what happened, I wasn't there in 1966, but somehow everyone missed the memo that we still need to abstain from something on Friday, or at least do a penance. Now recently there's been a little bit of a revival of abstaining from meat on Fridays. I know my bishop has talked about it, and Cardinal Dolan has asked people to prayerfully reconsider giving up meat on Fridays. And apparently for years there's been rumors that the USCCB has even considered changing what they said and just going back to no meat. You see, the problem I see with having everyone choose their own is that we lose a Catholic unity and identity. We don't have like that strong bond that we used to. I absolutely love during Lent when you go somewhere and you're like, oh, I'm not going to eat that, I don't eat meat, I'm Catholic and it's Lent. And everyone seems to understand that. But then when I say that in like a setting that is outside of Lent, I'm like, oh, I don't eat meat on Fridays, I'm Catholic. And then even my fellow Catholics are like, what are you talking about? We gave that up a long time ago. And I'm like, oh, no, we didn't, but you don't understand. You just don't understand. I mean, I get what the bishops were going for. They thought, you know, everyone could choose something that fit their life better, but it just didn't really work out. And I think for most people, giving up meat is a sacrifice in different ways. Yeah, maybe it's not like the same special kind of food that we used to have or whatever, but it's still super inconvenient to not eat meat. So it's still a sacrifice in that way. And as for vegetarians, I mean, maybe they should just eat meat on Fridays. Just kidding, that would be horrible. So if you're Catholic, maybe up until now you could plead ignorance, but no more. Now you know that you're supposed to be abstaining for something or doing some penance every single Friday. I strongly suggest just going back to no meat, but it's up to you. That's what the bishops have decided, so please, think about it, pray about it, and decide what it is that you want to do. Jesus died for our sins on a Friday, so it's the least we can do every Friday to die a little bit to ourselves and give up something for Him. Let me know in the comments if you give up something on Friday or what it is you do. Maybe you had no idea. What are you thinking about doing now? Thank you so much for watching, and may peace be with your spirit.
You know me, not one bite of me. Juicy meat, succulent meat.
Delicious. What happened is that the bishops in the US started thinking that maybe fasting from meat. Oh, I said it. Abstaining.
You know me, not one bite of me. Juicy meat, succulent